Two Mics, where transparency meets you in a safe place and space. I am Aaliyah Taylor with my co-host,
Michonne Carter Fogel, and today we're going to take you guys on a personal journey, and your personal journey is going to be through your power, purpose, and your possibilities.
Yep, that's right, guys. So we're going to start talking about understanding the roots, like who are you, and your personal story. We're going to talk about like speaking up in places where we're not used to speaking, and then like at a whole overall, dressing the part, speaking the part, showing up as your authentic self,
Ooh.
and at a higher standard. So we're going to talk about some of this good stuff today.
Good stuff, especially when she's talking about showing up as your highest self and the person that you want to be, the person that you want to reflect out there. How do you show up for that person? How do you show up being that person and not your representative, as they say?
As they say.
As they say.
Now that we're know what the expectations are, where do you start? If you are starting to literally heal, whether you're healing or whether you are just trying to find out your own identity, I think one of the most important things is being vulnerable, in which we've talked about that before, and not vulnerable with everybody else, but more so vulnerable with yourself.
Absolutely. You have to be vulnerable with yourself, and you also, and taking deeper looks into yourself to be able to understand where you come from, to be able to tell where you're going to go. You have to give yourself grace as well.
So when you say like give yourself grace, and how do you think, like, how do you even get to that point?
Well, first and foremost, if you're going to give yourself grace, you have to have a very forgiving spirit with yourself.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you have to have some type of grounding. Now, I know that it ain't for everybody, but for those of us who know, we've got our ground and we know exactly where we come from and we know where our strength comes from.
Yeah.
So it's not easy per se to be able to give yourself grace, because you may have some situations that you can't see yourself being graceful from, right? But at the same time, you still have to be able to give yourself that and allow it just from your upbringings and what you know, where your power comes from.
Yeah. I think like one of the things that you just said as far as your upbringing, I think a lot of people sometimes don't necessarily want to go back and look at their childhood and look at their upbringing. I know for me, as I was, healing, one of the things I remember my therapist talking about was going back to my childhood. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out why in the hell we were about to talk about my childhood, because I'm trying to heal from this here situation.
Right.
That didn't have anything to do with that.
So you thought.
Yeah, and once I literally like started listing things, like it was almost crazy how when I unpacked it, a lot of those behaviors came from my childhood and literally had manifested into the woman that I was.
Wow.
And so even now, like, I think I am sometimes taken aback, because then I start to think about that's where that came from. And not necessarily using that as a crutch, but using that to actually build as I'm working on myself. So I think even going back to childhood has, it's beneficial to ensuring, like, as you, continue to grow, that you don't forget some of the things that may now reflect on you as an adult.
That have built you to the person that you are now.
Yeah.
Something that you said too, when you're looking back on your childhood, some of the things that you can't do, you have to make sure, just like you said, that you don't use your findings as a crutch, that you use them from something that you can grow from. I went through therapy as well, and when I went through with my therapist, I was kind of curious why she want me to go back and unlock my childhood. But when she did unlock my childhood, just like you said, it is definitely the bearings and some of the groundwork as to why I am the way that I am. Even when moving in friendships, looking at early childhood friendships and things that I may have went through, it is definitely keys to why I am the way that I am.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Again, when you start unpacking some of that stuff, I think if you're not ready to deal with it, it's like, how do you put yourself in position to be ready?
Well,
Because that's kind of crazy. Like,
Kinda.
everybody, we always say everybody doesn't really deal with accountability well. That's true. But when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm going to get into some of this later as we keep talking, but um, there's things that I know I see that I don't like.
Absolutely.
And so instead of waiting for, or, being reactive to that situation, it's like, why not be proactive? But again, you have to put yourself in position to be ready to do that.
You do. And some people, there are times when people notice things about themselves and they just may not be ready
Yeah.
at that point in time to change it. So instead of taking accountability for it, what they'll do is they'll just kind of put it off
Right.
until someone else notices that ugly behavior in you or that characteristic trait, and they make you be accountable for it.
Yeah.
So a lot of us just don't deal with the reality of being accountable as well.
Right. Right. I think, right now the trend of, you know, going to therapy and all of that. It's great. It's very beneficial. But I think it has become trendy just because some people like to say, I'm going to see my therapist and I'm go to therapy.
But is it working
But
for
it's
you,
like,
though?
is like, what have you benefited from that's going to help you, as you are looking at, your foundation and like getting ready to grow
Mm-hmm.
or putting yourself in position for growth. And I think, initially I was not receptive because there's a lot of things that I saw in my childhood that, again, you're a kid. You're not supposed to talk about that stuff.
Right.
And then when I went to therapy and started talking about it, I literally was like, oh, wait, I do that now. So it's like, again, I was ready, but not ready.
True.
So it's, I don't know. Like, I just wonder sometimes, and again, you're talking about a reaction. Um, Sometimes it causes, you to distance yourself from friends or family or a job or whatever the case may be, as you're talking about looking at your roots and putting yourself in position. And I don't think that a lot of people are receptive to the fact that, yes, during that time, as you are placing yourself for healing or growth or whatever, that you're going to lose some of those things along the way. Yeah. So I think, like, sometimes people don't know, like, you have to sacrifice this to get to that step. And some people are comfortable where they are. So it's like, I'm not going to rock the boat. I don't want to talk about my childhood. I don't want to look at those kinds of things and see, how they affect me.
But in order for you to understand yourself that much more and to set yourself up for growth, you have to be able to look at the things and dispose of the things that no longer mean you any good. So just because I hung out with Betty Sue Pucker all for 12 years of
That
life
part.
doesn't mean that moving forward that she should go with me to my next step and whatever my purpose is.
Yeah, I just wish that there was like some medium, right, where you could have that conversation. Like, I had a encounter actually today that I had to be very vocal about where I am in my journey. And you cannot interrupt the journey that I'm on with this toxic behavior. And so, again, it's like, this is for me. And it's, again, I don't think 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to have those conversations because, I was cool with where I was and what was going on at that moment. And again, not ready to go back and try and figure out, why do I have these kinds of behavior? Why am I willing to accept this, that, and the other? And kind of going along with our title today, it's a journey. It's your journey of power. You're taking that power because you're empowering yourself. And then literally your purpose. I have now defined what my purpose is. And so with that, if there's possibilities that I'm trying to get to, what I don't need is that part.
So what you have definitely invoked in is you've put your boundaries. You've definitely set up your boundaries,
Absolutely.
and in you putting your purpose into play, nothing or no one's going to stop you from to getting to your purpose
Yeah.
and what you've been called to do. So boundaries are amazing. I
Yeah.
love them
Again,
every day, all day.
it takes that moment that you were saying to, again, because this is, again, it's all for you. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm not willing to accept this, that, and the other, and you set those boundaries. But along with boundaries, you got to make sure that you don't have anything that comes in to rock that, because there's always somebody that's going to push. There's always a situation
That
that
is
you
true.
might push. And so, how do you get to the point where, again, no means no?
Well, first and foremost, no is a complete sentence. It doesn't need any support words to go along with it. It is an action verb. No. No, no, we don't have to. So it doesn't have to be a whole lot of coaching. But once you reach that point where you know that your boundaries are good and healthy, nothing can come in and disturb that. So no doesn't become hard for you to say.
Yeah.
You just say, no.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to get to that point?
Ooh. I will say I used to be a big people pleaser, unbeknownst to a lot of people. I used to be a people pleaser, but when I realized that me pleasing people did nothing for me personally,
Yeah.
it probably took me, I would say being in my industry, it probably took me about 5 or 6 years into my industry to get to the point where I say no. And for that to carry over in my everyday life,
That part. Yeah.
that took probably about an additional 5 years, just for me to say no. Can you do my hair at home? No. Can I call you when you get home? No. And I'm very comfortable now with that word.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah. I think, like, sometimes when you say no and you set your boundaries, I don't want to say that people don't respect them, but they don't respect them.
They don't.
So again, they tend to push. I know, like, for me, my boundaries with my profession look a little bit different than the boundaries I have for my personal life. Even the boundaries I have for my social life. It's like I kind of have to set those different boundaries just because of the cultures that come
Absolutely
with each one of those. And it's so, sometimes it's like taking off different hats, but I'm still true. What I feel like is I'm still true to myself, right? Then you know what to expect at work, you know what to expect at home, and as my friend or family or whomever, you know what to expect over there. But I think that it's important to do that, to set those boundaries, so that, again, people don't have these false expectations
and
as you're along your journey.
Not only so people don't have the false expectations, it's also for yourself. You have to remember that the boundaries that you are setting forth are the boundaries that are put in place to protect you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not so much like everybody else. Yes, they become a casualty to your boundaries. However, they're put in place to protect you, so you keep your sanity, so you keep your peace of mind, so you don't lose your me time and your love for yourself. They're for you. We really don't care what everybody else feels behind the boundaries that we set. That's and that is my viewpoint on it. Somebody who is a little bit tad more empathetic than I am, they would probably be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I don't, because the same people who I would be sorry to because I imposed my boundaries would not give me the same turnaround. So
Yeah.
it's a me first situation.
Right. Well, and you got to get to that me first mentality.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of us who are, feel guilty about putting ourselves first. And it's, you know, and taking it all the way back to, how did I get to the point where, I feel guilty about these situations, or I feel guilty if I say no. Because I think that is a learned behavior.
Now, I can say this. I have had situations where I felt guilty, not like any type of big situations, though, but like people inviting you out. Maybe it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday type of affair. Now, I know for myself that by Saturday afternoon, evening, my social media is completely drained.
Mm-hmm.
So do I just continue to go on Sunday and Monday just because I don't want to let down who invited me, or do I literally draw that boundary and say no, because I've got to be the best me for me?
Right.
So take a time out. I'm going to take the time out. That's a healthy boundary.
Yeah.
And that is, even though my friend may have wanted me to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I just can't do it because it's a me first situation.
Right. Right. So with that being said, this whole me first mentality and putting yourself in position to, do certain things, as you are seeking personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
What about like what do those, you know, what are your affirmations look like? What kind of goals are literally um you have big goals, but I think sometimes as you're working on yourself, you just set very small goals. Whether it's, I remember being Mary Jane and the whole post-it note situation.
Yeah.
It literally wasn't until I got married in 2023 or whenever I got married, 2023, that I took my affirmations down.
Really?
Yes. And here's the reason why. So let's start with why did I set them? Because, again, freshly divorced, I was divorced as an adult, never been single as an adult. And as I was, on that journey, I was like, yo, I need reminders. And because I knew my parents didn't have what I would call a healthy divorce.
Okay.
I wanted my divorce to, and it's going to sound crazy, to be healthy. But I knew that the person that I was going to have to work on was me. So I literally started just putting Post-it notes on my mirror. And they stayed there literally, like I said, forever. One of them was, and you're going to laugh, one of them was Aaliyah. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. Okay. That was the first one.
Okay.
The other one was God is the joy and the strength of my life. The other one was leave shit alone. That one was the craziest one. There was something else. There was another song that was just kind of random. But literally, I knew that these kinds of things, I had to look at them continuously so that I could set better goals for myself.
Okay.
And yeah, I didn't remove them until after I got married because I felt like, you know what, I've gotten to this point. I still need to stay here. I still got to continuously work on me because now I'm in a whole other relationship and I don't want to bring a lot of that shit from there here.
Into the recent.
So I had to set those affirmations real close. I would even write stuff down like in my, I'm a notebookaholic. So I have tons and tons of notebooks from work.
With your affirmations
and
on
I would literally write one affirmation every day just to keep it close so that I could, attain the goals that I needed to reach.
Well, something that I have paid attention to, and I really didn't until people started moving into my workspace, was that my whole salon is an affirmation. I never paid attention to, as much as I have, the "you're gorgeous" on the wall, "hey you're beautiful," until other people started moving in. So I can say that those were affirmations for me on a daily, but also for the women coming into the salon receiving services. Now, the affirmations that I speak on a daily, because I'm a social media person. So with me being a social media person, if you are constantly scrolling and the people are doing the same things that you do in your same niche, you can kind of get lost. Some girl may be doing the exact same hairstyle that I've done and she's got 54,000 likes and I've got 12. So what I have to constantly remind myself on a daily is that I'm a boss. And in me being a boss, I have to remind myself that not only am I a boss, I'm an intelligent boss.
Come on, smart, intelligent boss,
it's
girl.
just those things for me that are constant reminders on a daily, just to keep me on my straight and narrow and keep me together.
So I'm hearing you talking about how these things affect you professionally. What about you personally? Because I'm going to say, like, some of those affirmations, do they apply to both?
They have
your
to.
Personal and professional? Okay.
They have to.
Okay.
And this is one of those things going back as a kid from traumas that you've received when you was a kid. We already see that I'm the darker skinned. My locks are locks, but I have tight, coily hair. I've got nice, full lips, and amongst other things. So there's things that I have to constantly remind myself that are beautiful about me. So
Yeah.
yes, those things do carry over. And just like I said, you get lost in the land of social media like a lot of our young women do. And
Yeah.
you just have to constantly remind yourself who you are, your individuality, and what makes you you.
I wonder though, like, again, how many people go back to their affirmations, or when do we start placing emphasis on having these affirmations? Because a lot of times, in childhood, you can remember things that people said,
Absolutely.
right? And so that's trauma at an early age. But again, you don't realize that until
You trying to work
later
through
on,
it as
and you're
an
trying to work
adult.
through it as an adult. So I wonder, like, I even say, my great niece is her structure reminds me a lot of myself.
Okay.
And so I am overly conscious about my comments to her. And, assuring her, like, that's cute, or, you look beautiful, and things like that, because I want her to hear those things now, not go through, trauma. And
Yeah.
then later on in life, now I'm trying to
Undo.
all the, trauma. I, and I was a chubby girl. I was in plus clothes, honey. The pretty plus. Hated it.
I was in Huskies.
Yes, hated it. And so, of course, as I grew up, I had weight issues and my weight fluctuated. Promise you. The struggle that I had with myself when I got divorced was crazy, because I had been, in a relationship with this person so long that my fear was, who's going to want this body? What is it going to look like? Is it going to appeal to somebody else? And I literally had to reassure myself, like, you're starting over. You got to do things to start over.
Yeah.
You got to make a difference. And even though I said that to myself, literally it wasn't until 2 years ago when I was faced with health issues. Yeah, that I figured out, okay, look, girl, this shit is not permanent.
This ain't what it is.
This ain't it right here. You got to do something about this.
Absolutely.
But again, nobody said to me when I was little, and no shade to my family, but nobody said, you're cute. I was at school and I was chubby. I didn't look like the other girls. And so I think even as far as, giving our young women, our boys too,
yes,
the tools that they need to be able to speak things to themselves, so that carries on and carries over through adulthood.
Absolutely. We have to equip the people that we love and that we care about with the things that they're going to need to be successful in life. And you said something about nobody said to you that you're cute, you was in your pretty plus. One of the things that I've realized, and no shade to parents, no shade to grandparents or anything, but we need to address the fact that we've received bad advice from good people.
Oh, absolutely.
Growing up, it's no secret that I got a little wagon, but me looking at the little younger girls in my family and everything, and watching just how they're kind of great, need to put all of that up. Well, I mean, there's not too much that we can do about that, but for people to draw attention to it and make us feel shameful about it to this day. For me to ever wear bodycon dress, y'all never gonna get that. I'm always gonna dress in baggy, big
we were just
clothes.
talking about that earlier today.
Just because that was something that was always drawn to my attention when I was little. So yeah, I don't like none of that.
So, that is so funny that you say that, because, so again, y'all know we are transparent here.
Very.
So I'm going to tell it. So when I think I may have been in 3rd grade, and mama took me to get a training bra. I'm like 8 years old. The hell? But I did it because she said so. Now, granted, my mom was older than most of my peers' parents. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, I've got to go to school with this thing on, right? Well, as I got older, honey, them joints grew too.
Yeah.
So by the age of, I don't even remember what the hell the age was, but I had a breast reduction. I kid you not, I'm like healing and everything, and back in an actual bra. I'm excited because I think I even went and got a bra from like Heels just because I could. And I saw this man that was like a kind of a friend of the family, and he jokingly said, "Oh my gosh, like Aaliyah, you have such a pretty face." Because your ass was always looking at my breasts.
And never saw my face.
Never saw my face.
Oh,
so literally, like, being self-conscious about things as a child.
Seriously. Girl, my granny had me self-conscious about going to church because, like you, in the 3rd grade, my grandmother told my mama, Prissy, take a girl out there and go get her a girdle.
I can't.
A girdle.
How old was you?
I had to be about 9 years old.
No way.
A girdle.
She wanted you to put that up.
She said it was too
in
much
elementary school.
In elementary school. So yes.
Wow.
Which is why now I always make sure I got on proper shapewear. Another episode.
I was just getting ready to say, child, we need to talk about that because, again, because you got it, don't mean that it can't be put together. Put your pieces and parts together and stop letting it shit flip and flop,
please,
and do all that extra. Anyway, another episode. So then, yes, let's use that. Going into one of the other points, which was dressing the part, speaking, and showing up as your highest self. So since we there, let's go.
Let's go.
What is it? What is it that makes the folks and men, y'all are not excluded, because we're gonna have a conversation about the gray sweatpants.
Inappropriate.
Because I'm gonna have the conversation,
and I am too.
So
I will.
What is it about us? Do we want to talk about the women or men first? Let's talk about the men first, because we say a lot of stuff about women, and no, they not here to defend themselves
now.
But we gonna talk about it.
The funny thing is, not until gray sweatpants actually became a whole thing on social media networks, that's when the gray sweatpants became a whole craze. And of course, if they were talking about it,
flying around, I don't know if you see it
on the social media, TikTok is my platform, and if they was talking about it, of course, that means that when you walk into a room with gray sweatpants on, all eyes on you.
Yeah. So are we at a place where, do you think that men understand that if you put them, I know you looking at me like that, so the answer to that is yes. Okay.
Absolutely yes.
So why are we now at a place where
so
men don't have any right to talk about women and their breasts and they, the cleavage and this, that, and the other, when you walking around with your junk swinging from side to side? Because that's the intent. I even have said to my husband, where are you going in those pants?
Yeah, my husband thought he was coming to a day party the other day with these little white Souls and Roses shorts on. No, sir.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to pull those jeans out.
The thing Cairo always says is, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, go stand in front of the damn mirror and let me point it out.
So here goes another moment of transparency from Two Chicks. We're twatchers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And if I happen to see, I don't need anybody else to see too. So let's just not cause that problem. Let's just eliminate it before we get there.
Oh, I cannot. I can't. And so now we can go on and talk about, the whole shapewear situations. I remember somebody saying what they say was,
oh,
I don't want to wear those things because it's hot. Listen, I'm going to give me a bottle of water and all of that, because
I'm not gonna be
I
hot.
need my parts and pieces to I need my foundation fit.
I need my parts and pieces to be where they're supposed to be.
Is that uncomfortable, you think?
What?
Now I'm just saying. And I, I always have the questions. So it's always like, don't you feel that breeze right there? Or, for me, like, even right now, like, this little piece, and women don't play me. Like, when you have skirts and stuff and you sit and, like, it's a little piece, like, that kind of shit makes me uncomfortable.
Exactly
So
why
I
my
don't
arms are right
understand.
here.
Yeah, so I don't understand how we get to the point
Where we just got it all out.
that's some hella confidence.
And
I don't care what
care.
nobody says.
Just
I don't care. I know it.
all out.
Listen, and again, you're still talking about embracing yourself, going back to your original. I get it. I get it. But I don't understand if you're dressing the part, and I'm laughing.
If you're trying to show up as your
as
best,
your
self,
best,
y'all
them-
missed some steps.
them pieces and parts is
They everywhere.
yeah.
They everywhere.
I
They
just always, and even, I know people talk about me and my faces all the time. And listen, it's fine. I acknowledge, listen, I know my face does a whole lot of stuff. I'm going to work on it in 2026.
all eyes.
26. I didn't say right now.
Okay.
2026. But I always have questions. And I know sometimes on Facebook, like, I'll put those things out there.
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm not being judgmental. I just want to know. I want to have the conversation. Like, are you uncomfortable?
So
When you put that on, does it hurt? Like, that's the kind of stuff I say.
now let me hear you. Let me let you know. For everyone that we have seen who is a complete repeat offender,
Yeah.
they're comfortable. They're very much so comfortable.
You're not going to tell me that certain, and again, you know how I am. Certain stuff hurts. It looks like it hurts.
It does. But if you just been all out there the whole time and nobody's taught you anything different, you don't know nothing different.
And it's sometimes like the formal wear.
Now I don't understand.
Now
She done got me started Now I don't understand why y'all would go pay some nice pretty dollars for a nice pretty dress to go to an upscale prettied out event. In your best, but you don't put on a foundation. And it's all foundational. Because I know some of y'all be thinking that y'all snatched, but it's not.
And being snatched is not just for big girls.
It's not.
Honey, the little belly things and you tighten up on your bra straps. Get yourself fitted.
Look your best in your best wear.
Yes.
Show up to be your. Like, I can't wait to go to my event here in a couple of weeks. I'm going to get all my stuff on. I'm going to put everything where it's supposed to be.
I even, like, sometimes when, like, for formal events and I know I'm going, I will take my shapewear with me.
As you should.
Everybody don't know that. Everybody don't know that.
As
because,
you should.
again, going back to your childhood, maybe you were not taught that.
3rd grade.
So you don't know. But we have things like social media now where you actually can see that. Listen, I done bought some of my best
off
TikTok, from Instagram posts, and it works.
So that's what I don't understand. As much time as we see people spending scrolling on social media, there is no way.
Maybe it's not in their algorithm.
It's a possibility.
Maybe they don't see it.
It's a possibility.
Maybe they don't see
But
it.
even if you have girlfriends and you see other women out, there is no way that women do not know about proper shapewear. There's no way.
Did I hear you say friends?
Oh.
Because I don't think
Family?
some friends, them too. It be the closest people to you that don't tell you. Now, if you are a member of my family, we say everything.
Well,
I don't know did you see Mama Saturday on the
I
live?
did.
Yeah. So
she's
you know,
priceless.
we say anything.
Well, I need
to
to
each other.
I need you to always, if I ever come out the house and I'm not right,
I
I
would.
need you to always have my back.
Oh no. I would. I mean,
you.
I've said to friends before we leave, where you going in that? Like, I'm not going anywhere with you like that. But I'm
Appreciate
being
it.
honest.
We
Because
appreciate
I don't
it.
want you going out looking a mess. And listen,
And they say her friends don't even like her.
It ain't even got to be your clothes. It might be your hair. And listen, it happens, and it should happen.
They don't care nothing about her.
Like literally, and it's out of love and embarrassment.
Mm.
So, and not embarrassment for
You
me.
said love and embarrassment.
Yeah, like I be concerned, like for real. I mean, I have snatched some folks up and told some people pull up their bra straps,
This
all
ain't
of
the
that
right
kind of
type
stuff.
of bra, baby. Pull it up.
Listen, because again, if you're talking about growing, that comes with it.
It does.
You know, if you used to dress like a hoe,
Woo!
and you're on a journey to grow, that should be a part of
It should. It should
of
be
your
a part of
journey.
your growth.
Yeah.
A part of your journey, especially when you are going into rooms that you potentially haven't been in before. You have
Yeah.
to realize that sometimes that the way that you dress or choose not to dress
Yeah.
or underdress speaks volumes before you can even open up your mouth.
Yeah. I had one of my, when I was a manager, a practice manager at one of my clinics, I used to have one of my CMAs that came, and her scrub, two instances, her scrubs were always way too big. She would drag the floor, so of course, you know, the bottoms would be dirty. So I did a, hey, can you come in my office? And I said, I'm just telling you this, but what I don't want is a representation of this office based off of your pants.
Ooh.
I said, you may just want to consider, you know, going a size smaller and or trying them on before you purchase them.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me some excuse, but I tell you that following Monday, this was probably like on a Thursday, that following Monday, her pants fit. And she said she would buy a set instead of buying two pieces. So because she was heavier up here, the pants were like, honey, listen, make the decision.
Make the pants
So again, she made the adjustment. And I feel like that was a growing moment for her.
Mm-hmm.
I had another instance where the person's scrubs were very light and she had on printed underwear. Tappity tap tap. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to go home and change either your pants or that, because it's very visible and people are looking. So again, you gotta make them adjustments.
And in another instance, that is where we people who haven't received and know what they're doing, as far as their parents telling them, come on now you know that those underwear are white and you got on a pair of white pants. But that's just people not educating.
Yeah.
And letting them know what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, Mashawn. I mean, we've unpacked a whole lot today.
But before we go, we were talking about purpose, or one of our things was purpose. And I just want to say to people, when you walk into your purpose, you definitely know. And I do want to make sure that when you're walking into your purpose, you are showing up as your best self and that you are completely ready for what is in store for you, so you can grow as a bigger person and walk into this newness that is going to be you.
Absolutely. Because that's important. You got to know who you are, what you're representing in order to even fulfill your purpose. Because you want to give the best you, just like you said.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So hold on. Before we go, I do want to talk. You said that you recently received what your purpose is. You didn't expect that, did you?
No.
Because, and I just want to touch on that, because I know that when I finally received what my purpose was, I couldn't contain it. I had to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
So what have you received?
I think through some unfortunate circumstances, I think one of my purposes is basically being a vessel.
Okay.
not necessarily, I joke all the time about ministry, but I think I feel as if my purpose is ministry based off of my own experiences, and not just highlighting the good things, but dealing and coping with the things that are difficult. And so if you ask me, how am I fulfilling my purpose? I think this is a platform for me fulfilling my purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because you have so many things that you can no longer contain and keep them to yourself.
Yeah, that
You
I
have to
really
share.
wanted to keep.
You can't.
I really wanted to.
You cannot.
Yeah.
When I received my purpose, I was the same way. I do feel like I won't say that I'm a vessel, but I have a certain ministry that I give behind my chair. And me giving that ministry behind my chair, I give it only to certain people. But in me being able to recognize that has been really fulfilling for me. Me being able to welcome people in my life as such has been fulfilling to me. And I just want to continue to carry it out. And I do feel like Two Chicks Two Mics is definitely a platform for me to continue carrying out what my purpose is.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
I am glad you're sharing your purpose.
and I'm so glad to be sharing my purpose with you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap on Two Chicks and Two Mics for this here episode. We thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see y'all next time.
But wait a minute. Before we say we're going to see you next time, we always have to make sure that we always say, if you have not yet, please make sure you go like, subscribe, and share. Do not keep all of this good information. You want to make sure that you share this with somebody, because this podcast is going to be up and coming, and it's going to have great things. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And with that being said, it's Two Chicks and Two Mics, and
we're signing off. Bye.